Me llamo Julian Castro. I am a candidate for President of the United States of America. The very fact that I can say that tonight shows the progress that we have made in this country. Like many of you, I know the promise of America.
Julian Castro may know the promise of America, but he no longer knows what it's like to be a candidate for president of the United States. Julian Castro's candidacy is over as of today. 0.0000001% of the electorate is weeping, or maybe mildly disappointed. I don't know how we'd even describe it. I'm a little sad because Castro had the single greatest Democrat line of the entire presidential primary so far on the left, which was that we needed to make sure that we had, and I might be paraphrasing here a little bit, but it was clean, or I am paraphrasing, but I think I'm getting this more or less right in the substance. Need to make sure that we have taxpayer-funded abortion for illegal alien transgender individuals. Okay. I mean, for those of you listening, if that's not a priority for you in terms of policy, I don't know what is. People were like, "Wait, what?" I mean, they're trying to follow this over the course of the debate. What was that exactly that he said? But nonetheless, Castro's campaign is done for. Another one of these candidates that the media really was excited. I mean, they weren't Kamala level excited about his campaign, but they were pushing it. And they weren't Beto behind him. You know, they weren't. Beto was a construct of the media. I mean, a construct of the media and wealthy Democrat elite who decided that Beto O'Rourke was somebody that you had to hear from for reasons that are still, still a mystery, I think, to many of us who were really paying attention to this. Oh, wait a second, is Michael Bennett still in the race, Producer Mark? Do we know? No, he's not, right? Okay, because I was just like, wait a second. He's out there, he's the guy, okay, who has this to say about Trump's foreign policy. He just decided to weigh in on this over the weekend with the Iraq stuff going on. Play one.
Donald Trump has proven over and over again that he is the weakest foreign policy president of our lifetime, or my lifetime anyway. And we're seeing this play out in Iran, where basically since day one, he's played into the hands of the hardliners in Iran. When he ripped away the Iran deal without any replacement, stepped back from a negotiated agreement that our allies had supported, the rest of the world had supported, and had nothing to replace it with. And then he's been provocative, and the Iranian regime is odious and malevolent and terrible. But we all know that. And so why would we want to make matters worse by stoking the hardliners' position in Iran? It's completely inexplicable, except by the president's complete lack of a coherent strategy, and I think the innate weakness of his foreign policy, which we've seen not just in the Middle East, but with respect to Russia and China, and certainly North Korea.
Everything he said was wrong. That's a great thing about Democrats, that they can.
I just want to correct myself. He is in the race.
Yeah,
he still is.
Thank you.
I just saw a headline. He hopes to finish top 3 in New Hampshire.
There we go.
Yeah.
I knew he was still in the race. All right. I'll thank Producer Mark for keeping.
I mean, there's so many candidates. How can we keep track?
But that's why. I mean, so I wanted to get in some of these. I thought he was. That's why we asked for President Trump. By the way, my Bennett impression is awesome, but I'm with my cold. I can't really do it right now. Otherwise, I would Donald Trump's proven over and over again. He's the weakest. I can't really do it right now. Like, my throat's all swollen up and stuff. Everything you said there was wrong. And by the way, can we just step back for a second and look at how he says that Trump is the weakest foreign policy president? He's stronger than Obama was. Made less, I think, errors, unforced errors in particular, than Bush did. And you're going to say that when Jimmy Carter, I mean, Bennett was alive when Jimmy Carter was president. Really? Weakest foreign policy president is Donald Trump? I mean, this is absurd. This is stupid. It's not even, it's not a defensible thing to say for an intelligent person. It's a dumb thing to say. But Bennett's still in the race, man. He's still in it. So that was, you got another one in the mix. Tulsi Gabbard, he was out doing some surfing in New Hampshire, which I got to tell you, surfing this time of year is generally not what I would think would be a favorite activity. Surfing is something that I've never. Have you ever surfed, Producer? I've never. You ever tried? You boogie board, any of that stuff?
When I was a child, I tried a boogie board, but it's not for me. I'm not much of a swimmer.
I would love to surf, but I would need time to actually get reasonably good at it, I think, before I could get excited about doing it at all. It looks cool, though. And I love the movie Point Break. Utah. Give me 2. So that's all you really need to know. But Tulsi Gabbard has pointed out, I'm just kind of give you a little bit of update on the field because we are, hold on, let me give you the overview because I know it's our first day back here. It is 32 days until the Iowa caucuses, 40 days until the New Hampshire primary, and 306 days to the 2020 election. 32 days, basically a month before Iowa caucus, folks. And this is going to be honest. We're going to be in the midst of a very interesting primary. And nobody knows. I don't care what you say. Nobody knows who the Democratic primary winner is going to be. Although Comrade Sanders doing better than people would have expected. We'll get into it. As is Buttigieg. There's a particular kind of smug liberal for whom Buttigieg is like the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, they think Buttigieg is just fantastic. Oh, but anyway, back to Tulsi, who, as you know, of the Democrats that I think are terrible, she's the least terrible. And then probably Yang would be number 2 behind her for least terrible of terrible candidates. And here is what she says about the House impeachment, which we're going to be spending a lot of time in the weeks ahead talking about too, by the way, because now we've got the Senate component of this. But here's what she said. Play 15.
In 2020, we will have a new president in the White House. But the real question is, how many of you do not want that to be Donald Trump? I definitely don't. But unfortunately, the House impeachment of the president has greatly increased the likelihood that Donald Trump will remain the president for the next 5 years. Now, first, we all know that Trump is not going to be found guilty and removed from office by the U.S. Senate. It's not going to happen. Second, the impeachment, in my view, will actually increase his support amongst voters, and it's going to make him harder to defeat. Furthermore, the House impeachment has increased the likelihood that Republicans will take over the House of Representatives. So I'm really concerned that because of this House impeachment, we will end up not only with Donald Trump as president from 2020 to 2024, we'll actually end up with a Republican-controlled Senate and a Republican-controlled House. This is going to be a disaster for our country.
I mean, she's wrong about it being a disaster. It'll be awesome. But she's right that the impeachment thing is backfiring. Democrats, they've gone crazy, so they're making crazy people decisions. The Democratic Party has been hijacked by the loons among the Democrats. Really, they're socialists now. I mean, it's a socialist party. They just won't call themselves that. The Democrats are now, they're embracing socialist policies really across the board. On every major policy issue, they're trending toward or openly advocating for socialism. But she's right. She's right that this is not looking good. And that's why you've had a whole host of very interesting Democrat theories floated out there for like what they're going to do now because they don't have the votes in the Senate. They know they don't have the votes in the Senate. So what are they going to do? Lawrence Tribe, who I think he's a professor at Harvard Law School, and he serves a very important purpose. And that purpose is to remind people that Harvard Law School is not nearly as impressive as they've been led to believe it is, that there are morons who are professors at Harvard Law School. There are people that have terrible judgment, no wisdom, no honesty, no ability to make critical decisions that are good. And Lawrence Tribe is a fantastic example of all of those shortcomings. This is a very celebrated professor at Harvard Law School. I thought people at Harvard Law. Elizabeth Warren is a professor at Harvard Law School too, folks. Just remember that. Ridiculous. These places are just finishing schools now for left-wing Democrats, unfortunately. The conservatives who come out of them just want to go into private life and don't, tend to think that they should be running everything and changing the country. Yeah, there's some conservatives, I guess, who go to these places and go into public life. But anyway, Lawrence Tribe tweeted out this. When the Chief Justice administers the oath of impartiality to a senator who has said he will not be impartial, he will need to decide what his own oath demands and whether he has jurisdiction to rule on a motion to recuse that senator for cause. Put plainly, here you have Lawrence Tribe telling us, or speaking publicly about how, he would like to see a situation where Justice Roberts, who's the person as the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court who would preside over this trial of Trump in the Senate, he wants to know whether the Chief Justice will just decide to start pulling senators off, saying, nope, you don't get to vote. You're out of this. again, change it. I mean, they'll change any rule, folks. They will undermine any institution. There's nothing safe from these crazy libs. They will make any argument if they think they can get their way. This is absurd. I mean, I talked to you about how they stacked the deck in the House with the procedural games that Adam Schiff was playing. And now, even though they don't have the votes, they think they should be allowed to stack the deck in the Senate. This is nuts. And the amount of backtracking from what we've already seen, the amount of, we said this about producing evidence or witnesses in the House, but no, we got to change things because the Senate is a different story, right? This is why that quote from Children of Dune by Frank Herbert is, I think it's so important. It's one of the most profound quotes I can think of these days to explain Democrats, right? When I am weak, I ask for freedom because it is according to your rules. When I am strong, I demand obedience because it is according to my rules. That's roughly what he says. That's what Democrats do. When Democrats have the votes are the votes. We get our way. When Democrats don't have the votes, no, we should have like more people added into this body, or, oh no, it doesn't have the jurisdiction, or, oh no, it's, tainted from the beginning. The process isn't fair. They do this every time. They're like spoiled children. I remember when I used to play dodgeball, which I feel like you're not allowed to play anymore in schools. We played so much dodgeball when I was growing up, and it was good. It was very Darwin. It was very like, you didn't want to be the slow kid in the class because you were going to get pummeled. So, Buck with his giant head that was difficult to maneuver and his swoop of hair, which is not aerodynamic, would have to move around very quickly to try to avoid getting just pasted with these dodgeballs. But I just remember how, how I completely forgot how, producer Mark, I was going to tie this into what we're talking. And that actually just happened to me live on air. I actually transported myself back in time to when I was playing dodgeball.
Sure.
And,
I should get a dodgeball to pummel you with whenever you do this.
Correct. Oh, no, now I remember, because producer Mark scared me by threatening to pummel me.
Perfect.
Just let that be on the record. I remember that we would play either when you would get to a certain number of points or it was for time. And there were always kids who we'd agree, okay, guys, this game's going to be 10 minutes for dodgeball, and whoever's left on the field after 10 minutes, that's the side, whoever's more people, that's the side who wins. Or it's, whoever gets to, 10 people out first wins or whatever. And there were always kids who complained that it wasn't the way that they wanted it to be, right? There were always kids who complained the rules of the game when they lost were unfair, but when they win, the rules are the rules. This is what Democrats do. They're like a bunch of little spoiled grammar school kids. Here's another example. This is the Washington Post. Certainly the House's demand that the Senate call these witnesses is undercut to some extent by its own failure to persist in trying to compel their testimony, hoping to avoid getting bogged down in an extended court fight with the administration. Yet the question of whether the Senate should exercise its subpoena power to obtain relevant testimony is a separate issue, politically, legally, and morally. A Senate leader sincerely interested in operating as head of an independent branch of government would have left no doubt that he intended to do so. Mr. McConnell has done the opposite, giving rise to Pelosi's very legitimate concerns. Yeah, very legitimate. My friends, here's the Washington Post, the Bezos-owned lib propaganda outlet known as the Washington Post, being very clear about double standard. They're saying, no, this is a double standard. I mean, there's a standard and there are two of them. It is a double standard. The House didn't want to deal with the court fights and all this other stuff, so they didn't try to even get witness testimony in this impeachment farce. But the Senate not getting that witness testimony, that's just too much, because the Senate is different, because they say so. Who could defend this? Who could think that this is a good faith understanding of how these two bodies are supposed to work? If the testimony wasn't enough to get the articles of impeachment passed by the House of Representatives. Remember, still haven't been transmitted to the Senate by Pelosi. I got that bet with my buddy Jesse Kelly. We'll see, who's right and who owes who a stake on this one. But they just changed the rules in real time. They don't care. The House, they had the votes, so they pushed it through. The Senate, they don't have the votes, so they're going to raise process complaints. They're going to say that it's unfair, it's unserious, or they're going to try to change the process in real time to benefit them. Absurd. Absurd. We should all see it as done. Anyway, I mean, I just it's gonna get uglier and it's gonna get worse with this whole thing because Democrats, they've made a mistake here. This is an error. I think that's becoming quite clear to anybody who is an honest observer of this impeachment debacle. But they won't admit that, so they're just gonna keep kind of coming along with new ways to complain and whine and say that Trump is basically Hitler and all this other crazy stuff. And they never ever learn their lesson. They just don't. So Tulsi Gabbard is right. Impeachment's not working out for Democrats, and she voted present, I think, so she wouldn't vote for it. And that's why Democrats hate her, because she's just not crazy enough. She's not full of enough anti-Trump and anti-Trump supporter rage for them. And she, gets up on a surfboard, and it's kind of cool. So there you go. Oh, I almost forgot. Then they have the centrist Democrat, if you will, the guy who's still leading in the polls despite everything, despite his son's cronyism and, Biden's just obvious ineptitude and everything else. Here is Joe Biden on the campaign trail. Now, I might have to explain what was said to him, but you can hear his response pretty clearly. Remember, Joe Biden is the reasonable, rational Democrat. Please play wherever that Joe Biden being crazy clip is, Mark. Can't even find it right now.
The culture.
No.
Culture.
Not this one. No. The one where he says we're all going to die. We're all going to die.
You have to be specific. There's a lot of
I know
crazy
I know
Joe
that's
Biden,
my fault. That's crazy Biden. 17. It's clip 17. There you go.
Ask me about climate change, man. It's the number one issue.
If we don't stop using fossil fuels,
we're all dead.
Did you hear what was said there? This is at a town hall thing. Biden, this guy says, if we don't, it sounded like he had a British accent to me. I couldn't really tell. He says, if we don't stop using fossil fuels, and Biden says, we're all dead. That's the moderate. That's the business as usual, go back to a time of pre-Trump decency and all this other stuff. That's the moderate. We're all dead, folks, if we don't stop using fossil fuels. It would be hard to think of a crazier, dumber, more obtuse statement. It really would. You'd have to struggle to come up with a way to sound like more of a lunatic than claiming that we are all dead unless we stop using fossil fuels. You know what the truth is? If we stop using fossil fuels too quickly, people will die. That's reality. We won't be able to meet our energy needs. We will have people that are unable to get food and unable. I mean, just you look at the way that fossil fuels drive the global economy, and if you do a crash course away from fossil fuels, then people will die. So their lunacy comes at a cost too. It's not just that they're crazy, but there you have Joe Biden, the big hope of the Democrats, letting you know that we're all going to die, and if we don't stop using fossil fuels, which is insane.
Our campaign is about two fundamental issues. Number one, the need to defeat the most dangerous president in the history of our country. And no matter what your political views are, and I know that not everybody in Iowa or America agrees with everything that I stand for, we want a president that when you and your kids are watching television, that you're not embarrassed by what you see on the screen.
This is something that leftists will not give up on, like Comrade Sanders here, which I think is what we have to call him from now on. And maybe it is time to bring back Commie Bear, by the way, because he could do special commentary on the policy plans of Comrade Sanders. But what will you tell your children? 4-year-olds don't care what the president says. They don't see what the president says. It doesn't matter. No one cares. It makes no difference to anyone. Liberals love to do this. They love to use the innocence of children as some way to bolster their political arguments. And then if you say that that's dumb, they say, why are you attacking the children? Why? People are nuts. But Bernie Sanders had a very good fourth quarter in terms of money. From Bernie Sanders' campaign today, $34.5 million. That's right, the socialist is bringing in all the cash. In fourth quarter 2019, from 1.8 million donations, the average donation was $18.53. This was great, though. This I really liked. The most common donor occupation teacher. Ah, yes. Because public school teachers in America are part of, and even the ones who are conservatives, it's not their fault if they're stuck in this machinery, but they are part of a Democrat power election machinery. That is the reason that you have enormous amounts of money funneled from teachers' unions to Democrat candidates at every level, local all the way up to the presidency. And the teachers' unions are far more powerful in terms of monetary donations than the media ever talks about, because they don't want it to seem like big money, because it is. And this is where you have this unholy alliance of socialism within the sector of education in this country. And then on top of that, you have politicians who want to continue to be in power, and they can buy off the teachers' unions by giving, by making sure that legislation is passed and by giving them goodies. And the teachers' unions are this is all getting paid for by the taxpayer. And so then they turn out and they vote for Democrats, right? This is the cycle. Democrats vote for teachers vote for Democrats in office. Democrats in office give teachers and teachers unions more of what they want, and so on and so forth. Who gets left out? The kids and the taxpayer. They are not a concern in this whole process. So it's not surprising at all that teachers, because look, being a teacher, you got to be at least willing to deal with a lot of left-wing colleagues if you're not left-wing yourself. And the educational system in this country, this is we're losing here, and we're losing big time still. We're losing bigly when it comes to public education in this country and the way that it is set up to support intersectional grievance politics, the way that we're transforming kids to be we're really brainwashing kids and transforming them into little socialists in waiting. I mean, this is what's going on in these public schools in many places, most places across the country. And we all, conservatives, we talk about it, but we don't really do anything about it, which frustrates me. I mean, some of you are saying, Buck, I homeschool my kids. Well, you're doing something about it. And other people are fighting for charter schools. I try to spread the news, so to speak, about how different educational programs work, and also honesty around what it would really take for us to have a greater success rate, particularly for low-income and minority low-income students in the school system, and what's really required. It's not just more money. They keep saying this. More money is what the teachers' unions want and what the Democrats who are giving the money want, so they can stay in power. But it's not surprising if Bernie Sanders' most common donor occupation was teachers. And then among employers, I thought this was interesting, Amazon, Starbucks, and Walmart. I'm going to guess that those are almost entirely hourly wage employees. And I can understand why. If you're an hourly wage employee and you've got some guy who's promising that you're going to have free health care, you're going to have free school, you're just going to get a lot of free stuff, you're not thinking, well, hold on a second, what is this going to actually mean for me, my ability to rise, my ability for my family to become entrenched in the middle class and develop some prosperity and financial security. You're just thinking, well, I'm going to get free stuff. And free stuff sounds good. This is the problem. I mean, everyone loves Santa Claus. And I'm not saying Bernie Sanders is Santa Claus. I definitely can't do the Bernie Sanders voice today, by the way, because it kind of forces you to sound like you have a cold when you don't. But when you do have a cold and you try to sound like Bernie Sanders, you just, it sounds like you're having an aneurysm or something. It's just too much. I'm already kind of stuffed up and nasally, so I can't do Bernie Sanders. This is stuff. So for those of you that say, Buck, I hate when you do the voices. Yeah, I just did one for you. Today we basically have no voices to do because it's my inflamed vocal cords will not allow it. So you got Bernie Sanders bringing in a whole bunch of cash. People are all excited about that. And then just one thing here, I wanted to play a little message from President Trump. Would you, Producer Mark, please play clip 9?
On trade, we're very excited about trade. The China deal will be signed probably on January 15th. We put out a notice today. And I'll be going at some point to Beijing to be with President Xi. We have a great relationship. And we'll be doing something reciprocal. But I think more importantly, we'll be starting negotiations very soon on phase 2. And I think phase 2 can be complete. A lot of people said, well, you're going to have phase 2 or phase 2, phase 3. I think we'll have phase 2. I think that should complete it. But we'll be starting those negotiations very soon. I want to thank everybody. I want you to have a great year. Look, you're honorable people. You have to stay honorable. If you're honorable, I'm going to win the election by a lot. If you're not honorable, I'm just going to win the election by a little. So I'd rather have you be honorable, okay?
All right, Producer Mark pointed out that actually Trump there was saying, he was talking to the media, but I'm saying it was a message delivered for you to hear about Trump talking to the media. See what I did there? If you're not honorable people, which the media will not be honorable, but the media is all in on trying to destroy Trump. But see, I get it. You caught yourself with your hand in the cookie jar, and then you caught my hand in the cookie jar of being wrong. I see how it is.
It's my job to keep you honest, Buck.
That is true. That's what he does. The voice of, well, you know what he's the voice of. The voice of producer Mark. All right, let's hit roll call.
It's time for roll call.
Man, it has been too long, team. I have missed you so. And so we have not gotten a roll call session in like a week and a half, which just feels like forever. I wanted to just note that I appreciate those of you that were downloading and listening and catching up over the Christmas and holiday break. Please do. And also my birthday, December 28th. There's a little special podcast. For those of you who haven't heard it yet, you can download it. It was released on December 27th. And also, I have one more. Oh, yes, please do. Pass the buck. Tell somebody to download the Buck Sexton Show. Subscribe is even better than download, because then you download it every day. In the new year, all of you do spread the word. That's how we're getting. Look, we're getting more downloads every month. So that's because you're telling people about the show, and I cannot thank you enough for it. But if you want to give me a birthday present, get a friend to listen to the Buck Sexton Show and subscribe to it on the iHeart app or on Apple Podcast. Also watch Pluto TV channel 242 The First. Did I just messed that up, didn't I? 'Cause it's been a while. I just messed that
248 Buck.
248. Channel 248. I'm sorry. I'm sick though, so I'm allowed to get. I mean, I've done a great show.
Programming on 242.
I'm sure, but Channel 248, The First, Pluto TV. I've just look. I've done a great radio show today for a guy that like can't feel his nasal passages.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised.
A throat the size of like a grapefruit stuck in there. It sucks. So anyway, I'm just saying that's because I love you, team. I can't be away from you another day. I missed you too much. I wanted some Team Buck cuddles. Now they're all like, "Good God, Buck! Good heavens, man!" That's like Lady in the Tramp with a woman. Merciful heavens! Merciful heavens! So we could start to work that into the show too. Merciful heavens. That seems like it's a good one. All right. Ethan, first up on our roll call. Facebook.com/Buck Sexton if you want to do it on Facebook. Hey, Buck and staff, do you have a mattress sponsor? I'm looking for a new mattress. If you have one, I want to take a look and give the sponsor, the credit for your show. Thanks. We don't, I think, have a mattress sponsor right now, and we should get one. I think that sounds like fun. By the way, those of you who listen to the show, if you have a business or you know somebody at a business that you think would be a good match for the Buck Sexton Show as a sponsor, you just reach out to us and tell us. We'd love that. We've gotten lots of people word of mouth, or they decide that they want to check us out because they know somebody who really believes in the show. So if you're out there and you're a business owner and you want to talk, you reach out to us. We'll put you in touch with our sales team. Sponsor the show. By all means, part of the show, not the whole show. I mean, you can sponsor the whole show if you want, but that would be pricey. But yeah, please do let us know if you want to run some ads on the Buck Sexton Show. If you're a good fit for us, we can do that. But we should get a mattress sponsor. We don't have one right now. Maria writes, a few months ago when you said you'd never seen The Twilight Zone, I almost fell out of my chair. Every holiday, the Sci-Fi Channel does a marathon. Netflix has it available, every episode in order. So many classics. Shout out if you need episode recommendations, you'll get them. I love them all. You'll need this cultural reference in your repertoire. Happy New Year. All right, Maria. I mean, if you say so, I could check it out. It's been a while, but we could make that happen. Let's see. Jeff sent me a tweet. Okay, hold on a second. Milk. Buck, your birthday podcast was swell. I have such fond memories listening to you on Saturdays while walking my English Bulldog Bix along Magnolia Boulevard. Oh, well, thank you so much. Milk. I guess that's a pseudonym. It's not really the name, but close enough. I don't know. I guess your first
Is he
name
related to a cow?
Hey, I have a weird name. Am I related to a deer? Milk, thank you for writing in. I know that's not your name. I see your name actually here. I don't want to say it on air, though, because we've already said too much. But thank you so much for writing in. Appreciate it. And, yeah, man, the Saturday show, we've been going now. I got to do the math on this, so I stopped saying approximately, because I should know when we started doing this radio show. But it's like at least 7, maybe 8 years now. It's been a long time. Mike. Oh, please, Buck, check out today's Meet the Press. The whole program was dedicated to letting us know how conservatives believe all of Trump's 15,000 lies. Yes, 15,000 and how gullible and stupid we are. Check it out. I heard about this disinformation thing on Meet the Press. I mean, Chuck Todd is a joke. I saw this poll on Twitter. I try to stay off Twitter for the most part on the break. I kind of did. I didn't really tweet anything. I saw this poll, though, where it was who's a bigger fake newsman who pretends to be neutral, or pretends to be a neutral party, Jake Tapper or Chuck Todd. That's tough. I go fake Tapper, but Todd is right there, too. Todd thinks that he's, like, not a partisan, which is crazy. But same thing's true of fake Jake. Let's see here. Tammy writes, the happiest of all birthdays to you, and thank you for the birthday podcast. Those original Saturday Squad days were so special, weren't they? Because of your show, I made friends who I'm still in contact with, so thanks for that. Please keep your shows coming. Have a great 2020, Tammy. We've had people meet and create really long-term friendships because of this show. There have been some marriages that have occurred because of this show. People met listening to this show and then some social media interaction and, all of a sudden. So, what can I say? Producer Mark, we bring people together,
Now we just have to find a lovely lady for Mr. Sexton.
We'll see. By the way, speaking of dates, we need to get out with you and Brandon and go to
you keep saying that.
Islanders game. No, I know. You gotta come on air and tell me some dates when you want to go see the Islanders.
Do this on air?
What?
I can't just text you the schedule?
Yeah, no, text me, but then we'll announce it. So
okay,
I can follow through and the team doesn't think that I'm just here blowing smoke. We're going to do it.
If I ever get you to a baseball game.
Wait, but do we have to go out to Nassau to see it, though?
Yes, obviously.
Well, no. No way. I want to do it here at Madison Square Garden. I don't want to go all the way to Nassau.
The Rangers play at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, but okay. But that's going to be a lot more
expensive.
A
yes.
lot more expensive?
Maybe Barclays Center if the Islanders are playing a game there. They have two different arenas.
Maybe we could do that.
All right.
Let's look at some ticket prices.
You want me to go to Brooklyn?
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Ugh.
Brooklyn.
Terrible arena for hockey.
Is it really?
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to go to a game, though. We got to do it for social media. How far away is the Nassau Coliseum?
By train?
Yeah.
Like 45 minutes.
Ugh.
But it's not close to anything. You have to take an Uber from there.
Oh gosh. Oh, good heavens. No, merciful heavens. No, I can't do that. All right. We'll figure it out. Katie. Hey, Buck. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, and a Happy New Year. Thank you for your bonus birthday podcast. You talked about your respect for Rush, and I believe you are the Rush of my generation. I love your show. You have me so stoked for election year. Election day is my Super Bowl. My husband says if you have an election day party and if I'm invited, he'll take me to New York City for election day. Buck, can you make it happen? Thank you, Katie. Katie, first of all, thank you so much for your kind words. It's very humbling to be in any way compared to Mr. Limbaugh. And as for Super Bowl party, you would totally be invited if I were going to have one, but I am definitely not having one because I don't even know when the Super Bowl is. When's the Super Bowl?
First of all, it's the first weekend in February. Second of all, she wasn't asking about a Super Bowl party. She was asking about an election night party because the election is her Super Bowl.
Again, I have a cold, so my brain is a little foggy right now. Election day party. I would love to have an election day party, but I'm going to be stuck working until, there's no way I'm going to be able to get away from that.
Are we doing the show live that day?
No, but I'll be doing what I do and running around doing the things on the TV.
Yeah,
and
you'll be on
whatnot.
TV.
Yeah, I'll be doing that stuff. Yeah. What, do you want to go 24 hours, Mark?
No, God.
Yeah. So I'm hoping it'll be over by like 8 p.m. The Trumpster can just be doing victory dances.
I love not doing shows live anymore. It's fantastic.
Yeah, there you go. Jeremy. Let's see. Just listen to your birthday special. There's a great mineral-based liquid called Mivita that works awesome for sore throats and many other things. I've used it since I was a kid. My mom kept some in an eyedropper bottle. I would squirt a bit onto the back of my sore throat when it would get sore. It tastes a bit weird, but it's great stuff. I have never heard of Mivita. I always see this like oscillococcinum stuff in the grocery store. Oscillococcinum or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Oscilla something or other that people say is like a homeopathic remedy for colds and everything else. I think this stuff is all placebo.
Buck, that sounds like something you get in a store that can't be anywhere near a school.
Yeah, I'm just saying they got some homeopathic remedies that they say will help for colds. So there you go. Brian, happy birthday, my friend. All the best to you in 2020. Keep up the great work. Going to be an interesting year. Stay safe. Brian, that is all true, and I appreciate it. Taylor, we are getting a merch store in 2020, and Trumper's getting a reelect, right? Ordered the shirt a year ago. Would love to rock some Freedom Hut gear. Oh, yeah, we don't have gear anymore? Okay, we got to do a gear. Man, we got to do a gear store. We got so many things to do.
I'll get on that. We have all new logos and everything.
We have new logos. We got to do a gear store. We got to get
this up for this year. We have some new sayings also.
Yeah, I know. We got to get merch happening.
Yeah.
I have so many things to do, man.
Exactly.
How do people do this stuff when they're married and have kids? I don't even understand.
Yeah. I'm just married.
I know, you're
have
just
to do all
married.
this stuff. Yeah.
Anyway. Well, I'm going to go drink some tea, as is producer Mark, and we're going to just get ready for an awesome show tomorrow. I will be here, even though I am sick, because that is how much I love you, team. Shields high.